The GT class saw top contenders eliminated by mistakes like the Dick Barber Porsches and the BMWs, leaving the Alex Job Racing Porsche standing on top of the factory favorites for a second straight race. Now the exotic $1 million sports cars of the American Le Mans Series visit one of racing's most historic venues. The Rose City Grand Prix at Portland is next on Speed Vision. NBC Sports presents the American Le Mans Series. Today, the Rose City Grand Prix from Portland, presented by Decision Point Applications. The Portland International Raceway, 1.9 miles, 9 turns around the site for the 8th race of 12 in the 2000 American Le Mans Series season. And unlike the blistering heat conditions under which last week's Grand Prix of Texas was conducted, today overcast, not even 70 degrees, a chance of rain that could affect the running of the Rose City Grand Prix. Now we give you a little description of our course, what the drivers are facing today. Bill, take us for a spin around.
PIR really is a fun track because there are a number of good spots for passing. You can see that it's a 9-turn course plus the festival curves, which really breaks up the front straight. Now the festival curves we're going to see are the greatest spot for passing on this track, and there is going to be a ton of it today.
Consider Dirk Muller and Lucas Luhr. The Dick Barber Racing Porsche, their 6th pole of the season. The top 3 qualifiers in the GTS class, all within a 1/10 of a second. That stock-based class going to be a terrific race throughout the afternoon. Some other notables here as we look at the rest of the field. 16th position, that's the 2nd of the Dick Barber Porsches, veteran Bob Wallach and Sasha Mawson. And then 17th, that's the Alex Job Racing Machine, Randy Pobst and Bruno Lambert. They have won the GT class the last 2 straight American Le Mans Series races.
A terrific battle and a terrific resurgence by Alex Job Racing. They were last year's GT champions, and coming into this year, it looked like the Dick Barber team was simply going to overwhelm them. Well, they have got their backs up, they've got everything working right, and now they've come on very, very strong. In fact, this morning they spent a good solid hour just practicing pit stops, showing how serious they are about winning one more time. He will have the good view, but he is only watching the start.
Green flag. The Rose City Grand Prix is underway here at Portland. McNish takes the lead on the start. Watch the Panos try and get to the inside the red car.
Yeah, and remember about the cold tires. Look at the BMW locking up his brakes. One of the Reynard locked up his in the Panos also.
Off into the sand. Is that Lato?
That's the BMW once again on cold tires, and I think he bumped the Raffinelli car as well. That's 42. Lato, BMW is, they're both safely through, but that really could have been very dangerous, taking themselves out of possession so early in the race.
Opening laps of the race, it was back at lap number 7. Boris Said driving the Milner Racing, the prototype racing BMW M3 that is that distance behind the class leader. Here is Boris. Subbing this weekend for Hans Stuck, the veteran who has apparently discovered that he got injured in the Mosport race.
Yeah, this is the most bizarre story, that he said somehow he damaged his back during the race, but I don't know. Stuckey's an old teammate, and I know that he just got married last year and has this beautiful young blonde wife, and well, you decide.
You're not suggesting.
I'm not suggesting a thing.
Well, see, I'm going to disagree with you, because I was talking with some of the BMW people earlier in the weekend on Friday when they had the open test day here, and they said within the first half an hour of cars being on the racetrack, Boris had emailed them here at the racetrack 3 times. What's happening, what's happening, what's happening? He wanted to be here.
Boris will drive just about anything, and does drive just about anything.
What did I say, Boris? It was Hans that did the email.
Oh, Hans wanted to come and drive.
Yeah, Hans did the emails, wanted to know what was going on. So he wanted to be here. And you're right, Boris will drive anything. He was a pole winner and 5th place finisher here at Portland in a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race a year ago in '99. So he's running 2nd in GT now in the BMW behind Bob Wallach in the Porsche.
It is a mark of an excellent team in every respect. And not only is Alan just a supremely talented driver, but the fact that the crew can put him back into the position, and they've got the cars so well set up that they rejoin and seemingly did not have a problem. That's very, very impressive, and a whole team effort.
The bodywork punched out after an altercation when the 2 team Audis racing for the lead tangled with one of the lap cars. I shouldn't say lap car, it was the GT car of Dirk Muller, the Dick Barber Porsche that was racing for the lead in class. And didn't necessarily have any room to give them. He wasn't in the wrong by any means.
No, not at all.
But they tangled, punched the left front corner of the bodywork out, but before they got lapped, caught a full course caution, were able to come in, change the bodywork on the nose of the car, get some new tires on it to replace the ones they'd flat spotted, and now have roared back through the field and taken a full lap lead on second place, Jörg Muller in the BMW.
But then even then, with McNish in the lead, I don't think Allen's going to worry about it, seeing the panos on his tail, because he has been able to...
Out. Ooh, close call there with Boris Said in the BMW. Wow. Look at Cato. Which way is he going to go?
Yeah, he didn't know it, and he was very smart there, just being patient for a few minutes to give himself just a little bit of time to let Boris choose the side of the track. I think Boris was showing some good, smart driving right there too, because he obviously had looked at his mirror, had decided to let these guys choose a side, and when they waited, he made the proper move.
And at Portland International Raceway today, it is the Rose City Grand Prix for the American Le Mans Series. Now 19 minutes of racing left to go in this one. And it is the Audi R8 of Alan McNish that has a pretty significant lead over Jan Magnussen and the Panos, who run second. This is on board the BMW M3 of Boris Said, running 12th overall, second in the GT class. There's Boris, Carlsbad, California driver. You want to read a racing resume that's basically been there, driven that. Here's the one you want to read.
Been there, hit that.
Well, that too. And he'll admit that. Boris is a lot of fun.
He is great.
Boris has driven everything from NASCAR machines to European road racing in sedans. He's run the 24 hours of Spa. I believe he won that race.
Trans Am cars.
Yeah, you name it.
Everything under the sun.
He's run it. Chances are he's won in it as well. Subbing for Hanstook here this weekend. And again, second in class right now for the BMW, behind the Bob Wallach, Sasha Mawson, Dick Barber Racing Porsche. Pretty good bit behind him too. 31 seconds is the deficit from first to second in the GT class. Behind the wheel of the Dick Barber Racing Porsche, as the leader, Alan McNish, and the Audi goes by him there.
And if Wallach continues on, which it looks like, he is so experienced, he doesn't put a wheel wrong very often. This will be his third win of the year. Good job for Wallach.
Been a pretty solid season so far. Got wins at Charlotte and at Silverstone. Had a win in the 24 hours of Le Mans. Lost it. Post-race technical inspection. A little miscommunication among interpretation of the rules on, I believe it was the fuel tank capacity.
That's right.
For the car. Let's go to Martin Haven, who's down in the Dick Barber Racing pit. Martin?
Well, I am down in the Dick Barber Racing pit, and that's nothing new because I walk past them all the time. But what is new is that their fuel man is standing on the pit wall. He leads GT by a lap, but he needs a splash and dash to make it this final 7 minutes in the race. Whether that puts his win in question or not, I think is probably down to the driver in the end.
Wow. Well, you know, what a perfect guy to have in the car. Bob Wallach is not going to get rattled if he has to come in and get that splash of fuel.
And it, you know, you got a lap lead, so there's no use risking it. Just come on in, get the fuel. You can get the fuel, get back onto the racetrack, and still have almost a full lap lead, and it's no big deal.
Of course, here we go again. There's no such thing as any guarantee that you can just savor the moment. One of the few times that you can actually do it. That normally you have to keep such a high level of concentration with such great intensity. You can't think about how enjoyable it is. But right now for Alan, he's being very cautious. He knows he has a huge lead, and he is enjoying this moment. Another one of many.
McNish, the 30-year-old from Dumfries, Scotland, scored a win in 2 of the last 3 races. He lapped the field at Sears Point. They got the win barely in that oh-so-close finish at Mosport in the rain. Then the radio communication mess-up forced them to finish second to their team car in Texas 1 week ago. Now they've come out, overcome early race troubles, lap 7 troubles, to come all the way back up to the front of the pack and in position to score the victory and close further on the BMW drivers in the chase for the American Le Mans Series Championship. Final corner. Here he comes, McNish, off turn number 9, down to the start-finish line. He moves toward the pit wall to salute his crew as they wave the Audi flags and drop a couple on the racetrack.
I think that they're throwing paper at him. It's like both hands in the air.
Checkered flag and the Rose City Grand Prix to Alan McNish and his teammate Dendo Capello. Now let's go back to the GTS class, the 91 car. There with Olivier Beretta back on board will score the victory as they come off the corner. After losing out to the Vets 1 week ago, the Vets didn't show up here at Portland, and Viper rolls to a victory as you see the 2 cars there in the photo formation across the start-finish line. So Beretta and Wendlinger score the victory for them. That would be their 6th win in 8 tries this season for that driving duo. And to the GT class winner, we saw him on the pit lane just a minute ago. Bob Wallach in the Dick Barber Racing Porsche. There he is, making his final circuit around. in through turns 3, 4, and 5. He'll head off onto the backstretch in a minute and make the final spin around this Portland International Raceway course.
And one of the important things about this particular victory is I believe this now puts Maassen up into the lead for the GT Championship. He will pass Dirk Mueller.
Overcoming their teammate, right, Dirk Mueller, who had the point lead coming in. You know, I think he's actually taken the checkered flag by virtue of making that pit stop. I believe Wallach has already actually gotten the checkers, so he's actually on his cool-down lap, but there he is nonetheless, scoring the victory for the 3rd time this season, following up on their wins at Charlotte and Silverstone earlier. By the way, that is the 11th straight GT class victory for Porsche in American Le Mans Series competition, a streak that began 1 year ago.
Alan, you lost your flag. I think that's the only thing that's gone wrong for the Audi team this year is the flag fell apart.
You can let the stick go now, Alan.
I wonder if BMW built the flag.
No, that is nasty. There are the team drivers who scored the victory. Dindo Capello, the Italian. The podium, well, BMW gets back onto the podium with Jörg Muller and J.J. Leto getting the 3rd place position. And looking down, Bila and Piro not able to catch Muller and Leto for that podium spot. Good run for the Reynard, 5th place there for Smith and Johansson. And the Cadillac with an 8th place run. Overall, GTS winner finishing in 10th place, GT winner finishing in the 11th place overall. And there's the rest of the final scoring results from today's Rose City Grand Prix. We'll come back in a moment to wrap up our coverage of the Rose City Grand Prix in just a moment. You're watching the American Le Mans Series on Speed Vision.
They did a perfect job.
And so for Alan McNish, the victory bringing him closer to taking the lead in the American Le Mans Series Championship standings as the circuit heads off to the 10-hour, 1,000-mile Petite Le Mans at Road Atlanta a little bit later on this month.